I, of course, have spent most of my career playing acoustic piano. The Roland digital piano offers a lot of neat kind of options, transposing keys, and one that I just learned that I love is being able to play a chord change and having it spell out the actual chord that I'm playing. And that's quite a unique feature. And of course it also has the other sounds, the electric piano sounds, and within the piano spectrum there's some really cool sounds. And I also like the flexibility of being able to design the sound. That's a very nice feature, and having control of that part of it. So, including everything from the action to the touch and the way whether it's a soft hammer or a hard hammer sound, it's nice to be able to have that those options and be able to change things and have flexibility. The piano sound is a very genuine. It's one of the most real sounds I've heard in a long time. The range of dynamics is amazing, and the touch sensitivity is really great because it really does conform to the player. It's interesting how the touch is designed from the low end to the top end to be very, very realistic, like a grand piano. And the touch has a lot to do with, of course, to me, how it sounds. There's a feature called Piano Designer that I'm having a lot of fun with, and I can take my finger here and kind of adjust the sound. Like in this case, I can move the key touch so that if it's all the way up here, it's gonna be very sensitive, a little kind of softer sound. I would really have to hit it hard to get tone out of it. But if I want a little more immediate sound, I can move it over here, and then the tone comes a lot quicker. Especially for live playing, that's a good feature to have. Or, you know, the lid up or down is kind of fun to have that, and the resonance and hammer noise, maybe if I want the real authentic sound, it's there, although I think where it was good. But yeah, I like to have this right about the key touch, right about in the middle. And so being so touch sensitive gives it a very realistic sound, and as I mentioned before, the idea of being able to be flexible and change the design of the sound is really cool. And in fact, I was experimenting with it earlier, and I changed one of the parameters, and then all of a sudden it just responded exactly the way I like an instrument to respond. So the sound is amazingly realistic. It has a real pure sound to it. There's a lot of features. As I mentioned earlier, I really like the chord feature. When you play a chord and then it spells it out, that's a very, very handy feature. I like the sequencing feature. Example, just sitting at the piano, maybe having an idea and being able to just press the record button and have it play it back immediately. Because right now, if I have an idea, I'll sit down to the piano and then I've got to run over to my studio and then try to remember so I can put it into the computer. So I think that's a very nice feature, and having the different sound textures, and you know, having the rhythm is fun. I was thinking of my daughter who's a beginning pianist who likes rhythm, for her benefit, and especially with kids that are just learning how to play the piano, to be able to have those features is a great incentive for kids to get into piano, and having the rhythm to play with always makes it a lot more fun. One of the features I like about the Roland digital piano is the DigiScore feature, which allows me to basically compose and see all my music in print as I am playing it. The keys even move, and the notation is all there. It's really quite extraordinary. So I can give you a quick demonstration. The first thing I'm going to do is press the metronome button. That gives me the metronome beats and the sound. One particular sound that I like is this one. 2, 3. My daughter would like that one. She would get a kick out of that. But for me, I'll go back to the more, or my wife would like the one in Japanese. I'll go back to the normal sound. So let's see, let's try to I'll put a completely new song. I'll improvise it as I'm going and see how it does here. So we. Okay, we're going to press stop and reset, and there it is. That is a very accurate representation of what I just played. That's amazing. So I've got a new song already, all printed out and ready to send to the music publisher. One of the applications I use the digital grand for is in sequencing, and when you're putting together a sound and in my case a demonstration song, the digital piano is the best because it's very flexible. It can change keys, it can bend notes, and you can put it within the context of a sequence. The other thing is, to get a good piano sound, you have to have some very expensive microphones, a lot of processing, a completely quiet environment. So the digital piano, you don't have any of those concerns. It's already all there. It's so easy to just get your ideas and record them in the computer. So for me, the digital piano is a necessity, and I use it all the time in that context to get ideas, to put together demos. I've even on a few records used the digital piano as an alternative when I haven't. Honestly, unless you get a huge Steinway D with the best microphones and the best studio, it's going to probably sound better just to use the digital instrument. Yeah, I think in the touring environment, of course, one huge advantage is that you don't have to tune it. It's not going to go out of tune because of the humidity or the lighting or halfway through the performance. And I would imagine that these instruments are probably a lot more portable than a real grand, even though they're set up to look like one. I'm sure they're much easier to carry around and much lighter than a grand piano. But another thing that I think is and could be and is a real advantage is the consistency. And I know that even in my world, when I play acoustic piano, every piano is very different. No matter how good they are, they're very, very different. The action is very different. And so you almost have to relearn everything or relearn the action. And I know I've gotten into trouble a few times when I've hit an instrument that's had a stiff action right before a performance, and then I can't quite play what I want to play for that reason. But a digital instrument like this is going to be consistent. It's going to be the same action, an action that the player has been able to design because it's all there. So you can set your desired settings for the action that you like so that it's going to be the same on every performance. And then finally, of course, is the issue of sound in terms of, especially in a lot of the environments I play in, like the current tour I'm doing with Dave Cause, there's a lot of amplification, there's a lot of musicians on stage. So it's going to be much easier to have control over the sound of a digital instrument than a grand piano that's mic'd, because miking is going to involve having other instruments bleed into it and create a lot of sound problems. So at least you have a consistent sound source, and it's going to be there and the same every time. Plus, you have a knob you can turn up if you have to. So I would say those are some of the distinct advantages. I know there are a lot of purists in the music business, and I'm not necessarily a purist. I've done lots of different things within the music business, and I've worked in both realms, digital and acoustic, and mostly as a live performer, I favor acoustic pianos. However, I have found the digital piano to be a wonderful, not only alternative, but also something that's an integral part of what I do with my music, because the digital piano offers me so much flexibility. And for all of my composing now, I almost use the digital piano exclusively because I can get an idea, I can put it down right away, I can transpose that idea, I can put other instruments, and it just offers me that flexibility. And in a lot of live environments now, the digital piano, especially in some of the more popular in rock and roll type environments. It's just easier and it sounds better. So, and I think the other thing I would say to the purists is that the digital sampling quality has just, especially with this instrument here, they've reached a new level. And I think it's a lot different than even a few years ago. The sophistication of the touch and the range and the quality of the sound is now so much better than it ever was. So it's an instrument that's worthy of being out there. And so I definitely endorse it and recommend it. And not to say that I'm not giving up the acoustic piano, because that's still an important part of my touring world, but I think they can coexist quite nicely.